Welcome to the 2016 Summer Otaku Awards. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Otaku Awards. This is a lot late coming, but I've had a lot of stuff going on this past few weeks, and although we are freaking far into this current season of anime, I'm still going to do my Otaku Awards because it's important for me to get it out there. I want to let you know what I'm thinking, even if none of you care. So the like 4 people who are probably watching, that's hi! Good to talk to you. Now, I'm going to try and be a lot shorter than I was in past episodes. I feel like I ramble too much, and so I'm going to be a lot more concise. If you are interested in a more detailed description, i.e. more in-depth analysis of a lot of these, please let me know in the comments below. If I really hear from you guys and you're really interested, I'm going to start probably an Annie chart or rate my anime sites blog thingy. There's a website where I can do it, and I'll put a link there if you guys are interested. But let us continue on to the debate. Now, this season is interesting. I think there were a lot of good hitters as far as a good anime goes. I did have a lot of trouble with Best Waifu, but we'll get to that argument at the end. But until then, let's get started. Number 1, Twin Star Exorcist. First, I'm going to plunge into a perfect example of why you should be careful not to drop a series too soon. Or in other words, Twin Star Exorcists. As you know, I covered this a little bit in the last season because it started then. However, it's evolved enough to a point where I need to be able to talk about it more. And I have to keep giving it a glowing recommendation. Matter of fact, I have to appreciate it more than ever now. I feel like it's really stepped up to the plate and is delivering some really good story. Now, it's about 2 exorcists. They're very young, but they are destined to not only get married and be like one of the most powerful fighting duos against the demons that come out of like the Myanmar. I don't remember what they call it exactly. Not only are they destined to be the 2 greatest fighters of their generation, but they're also supposed to get married and have a child that's going to actually defeat all the demons. And that's their job, as protectors of the physical world from the demon dimension, where sometimes the demons spill through, sometimes they pull people through to their side. And at first it was very, honestly, childish and kind of annoying. It really wasn't my cup of tea. And then by the end of the first season, it took this really dramatic turn where suddenly it took on a much darker toll, like a much darker tone, and it really sucked me in, and I think that it's going to be doing that to you as well if you decide to jump into it. And now in the most current seasons, it keeps overdoing itself a little bit. I feel like they're kind of stretching the writing, and there's too many characters I feel that are too powerful, and then they have to come up with villains that are even more powerful, and so there's no real reason why the hero should win. However, they've kept my attention. There have been a lot of twists I didn't see coming, a lot of brutality, and I think that's what makes it so much, gives it so much depth. However, I would definitely not watch this if you are of the younger persuasion, or if you like fluffy, happy endings. While it has its happy episodes and its fluffy episodes, it has some pretty depressing ones too, so buckle up. Number 2, Taboo Tattoo. Next, we're going to do Taboo Tattoo. Where to begin with this one? Okay, so the art is incredible. First things first, if you like and appreciate very detailed, very beautiful character design, then Taboo Tattoo say that 10 times fast. Taboo Tattoo is there for you. Now, seriously, this one was lacking a lot in plot for me. I felt like everything was a bit too predictable. There really weren't that many twists, except for things that you literally could never see coming, like an introduction of a new character. And then there really was no rhyme or reason to it. Their explanations were shallow, the excuses plentiful, and it seemed like it was more interested in just providing cool combat scenes than actually providing a narrative, which, you know, for one, if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's just not mine. So I kind of give it a nah. I wouldn't watch it, honestly, and I wouldn't give it to anybody else to watch either. I did watch most of it, but it was really, like, when I can't even concentrate through the episode, obviously, there's not much there. Number 3, New Game. Alright, now we're gonna get into our little, our Moe corner here with New Game. Oh my goodness. This is one of the most adorable things I've seen this year. It has the light and, like, happy side of School Live, which came out last summer, but it definitely didn't have any, like, the horror elements that were associated with that one. And so, it's almost, like, overindulgent in its cuteness, and it's very much, it's not a Yuri, but it's close. It may be considered a Yuri, except there's no one who actually gets into a relationship. But it's pretty much just all about girls, and they're all like just at, like high school. Like some of them just got out of high school. Majority of them are in their 20s, although they all look like they're freaking 16. But you know, that's Moe for you. Anyway, good recommendation. You want something light and fun that's not to be taken too seriously. It's a wonderful one to put on the background, and if you're a fan of video games, it's a fantastic one because it goes into the development and creativity that goes into a game, which is fun. Number 4. Rewrite. Okay, this next one is weird. It's called Rewrite. And as far as I understand it, it's based on a visual novel, which I thought was pretty cool. I love visual novels, as you probably know. However, it decided to take, you know, kind of like School Days. It took the path of School Days where it was fairly interesting. The first half is very exciting with mysteries and ghosts and spirit realms and tons of interesting things to discover and lots of questions and lots of exciting things about the universe. And then it kind of takes a turn where halfway through it kind of spills the beans on pretty much everything you have a question about. And then it gets into this whole, I don't know, epic ecological feud. And the sides don't really make a whole lot of sense. There's like the people who want to protect humanity, and then there's the people who want to destroy humanity. And neither of them are the good guys or the bad guys. So I guess that's nice because there's all gray areas. There's no like black or white or anything. But then, like School Days, it kind of takes a twist end, and I'm not going to say the details, but it... although I can appreciate it artistically, the ending was very unsatisfying as far as it comes from like a character's perspective. So, you know, hold on to that. However, I just learned that not this current season, but next season, they're actually doing another season of Rewrite, where apparently they're going to cover alternate endings of the visual novel. So I'm guessing it'll probably pick up about halfway through last season again and kind of play through things differently, as if you were watching a visual novel, which I don't know why you wouldn't just watch the visual novel, honestly. But whatever. It's something I'm going to definitely check into because it was good enough. So check it out if you want to, especially the first half. Very enjoyable. I would highly recommend it. Number 5, Orange. Now the next one, Orange. Now this one got a lot of attention, especially early on, and I have to admit, of all the series this season, it really grabbed me by the heart and just yanked me around, and there's good reason for that. It's a beautiful story about friendship and also suicide. That's a trigger word on YouTube now, but it's the idea that friends receive letters from their future selves telling them that another friend of theirs is going to commit suicide because he's really depressed about something he's done. And they take it upon themselves to do what they can to help him have a good year, to let him know that they're there for him and that they don't want him to do anything to hurt himself, and to see if they can save him from himself. And it's very moving. The characters grab you by the throat and you really want them all to live. You want them all to be happy. It takes a dip towards the end though. There's a point where it gets a little too ridiculous with how hard it is for these characters to you know, follow the instincts that they have. And they have legitimate concerns, but sometimes they act very illogically, which I guess is high schoolers for you. But it got to the point where it got annoying. And so I know a lot of people got a little desensitized towards the end, but I saw it through to the end and I was happy for it. And I liked the ending. I think the ending was well executed. The art style is really pretty. So big thumbs up for that one. Make sure you check it out if you haven't yet. Number 6, ReZero. Alright, now we can't go through this list without mentioning ReZero. Oh my goodness. So, we had the conclusion of the first season, last season of anime. Oh my gosh, it was awesome. It's hard to describe how much I loved it. I mean, Rem was, of course, amazing, and I know there's a lot of Team Rem up there, but regardless of that, I think it really took the characters and molded them a lot more, specifically Subaru. The first half of the season is more about Subaru figuring out his powers, which is really entertaining and really interesting. This is more about him finding out who he is, and we get to learn a little bit more about why he's there and potentially what's going to happen in the future. It's very exciting, and I can't wait for the next season, which better happen, dang it. Number 7, Food Wars. I also have to go with Food Wars because they had their second season, and it was freaking amazing. It's funny because I'm going over things that took the last 2 seasons. However, they held on to me. I didn't have time to watch a whole lot of other ones because these ones are just so good and I couldn't put them down. And Food Wars is probably the top of the charts there. If I had to pick my favorite anime this past season, it probably would be Food Wars because every episode was entertaining. A little over the top. I feel like they're starting to get to the point where they have to stretch already to keep things a little interesting, but albeit, they do a good job, and the food looks amazing. It's one of those things where, like, I wish there was real food that I could have right in front of me because it looks too delicious to be true. Although, I mean, I understand enough cooking to know, based on good principles. So we'll see. Maybe people actually can cook like that. I'd love to meet them. Let me know if you're one of them in the comments below. And if you are, Bobby Flay, why are you watching my videos? I don't know why you would be here. Number 8. Sweetness and Lightning. Alright, I just said Food Wars is probably my top show for the season. The close second, ironically, is very similarly themed, and apparently not very many people kind of caught on to it, but it was blowing me away from the beginning, and that was Sweetness and Lightning. Now, I will tell you this, if you're wanting action and deep impact and drama, this is not the anime for you. This is like the definitive slice of life. Literally just about living life. The focus is on family and on food and on memories. And you know, the main character is a single dad raising a little girl. She's about 2 or 3. His wife passed away about 6 months earlier. And it's about him bonding with his daughter and with a student as together they work together to start cooking food. Because he was living out of gas stations for a while because he just doesn't know how to cook. And the high school student is a girl who loves cooking. Her mom's a great cook, but she's afraid of knives and has a hard time working with appliances. So together they work and they strain to teach themselves how to cook and prepare meals. But more importantly, they learn how to build relationships and about the impact of sitting down together, preparing and cooking and eating food as a family. And as a family man, I mean, I have to appreciate that. It was awesome. And this was one I was really happy to sit down and watch with my boys and my wife. So, if you want a feel-good movie, and better yet, if you want an anime to show to somebody who doesn't know anything about anime, like, say you've got a girlfriend, this is actually one of the best ones you could start them off with, just because it's so low-key and so down-to-earth, but still entertaining and fun. Number 9, Amanchu. Alright, this one. Amanchu. I don't know if there's much I can say about it right as go. I think it has some of the most captivating art of this past season. However, it also has some of the most horrific art of the season. I don't know whose idea it was to do this with their art style, but part of the time I'm looking at the characters, I'm like, wow, they look gorgeous. Especially the main girl character, the shy, tall, dark-haired one with the really long dark hair. She's absolutely gorgeous. Like, just one of the best caricatures I've ever seen in anime, in my opinion. I feel like it's got the touch of beauty and just the way they did it is great. But then they made 2 very critical errors. First, some of the wardrobes are just, ugh. I don't know why they chose them. Maybe it's based on something traditional that I don't understand about Japan, but I don't really think that's the case. I think it's mostly just an art style that didn't quite mesh with me. More importantly, however, when they decided to show any emotion that wasn't like kind of normal neutral face, the animation style would jump to this very harsh and simplistic form with like scribbled eyes and like overemphasized mouthing shapes, and it was just so glaringly unappealing compared to the normal beauty that was the art style. Perhaps it was the artist's way of like shortcutting scenes to make it so they didn't have to constantly be drawing such fantastic caricatures. Maybe that's it, but it hurt so bad. It made it hard to watch it sometimes. Like, so like there'd be 10 minutes of an episode that I was like, wow, I really appreciate this. And then the 20 other minutes of the episode, I'd be like, ugh, just go away. Not very good. So sadly, I wish I could watch an abridged version where I could chop out the pieces that just felt very inappropriate and so ill prepared in that anime. So I'm not sure if you'd be very interested in that. But it has a lot to do with diving, exploring the ocean, and looking for beauty in things besides social media and friends. Well, at least old friends. It's really, really good in that department. So if you can handle the art style and the distractions it causes, you might enjoy it. At least more than me. Number 10, 91 Days. 91 Days is the next one. Oh my goodness. 91 Days is one of the most interesting ones I've seen. It's fun because it kind of plays off of a similar theme and tonage to Baccano because it's from the same time period of the mob America during Prohibition. However, unlike Baccano, it takes a dive off into darkness right away. Maybe I'd more relate it to Game of Thrones, where people are constantly dying or not dying. It's pretty much like in Game of Thrones, it's like all the characters you wish would die just will not die. And all the characters you like probably will be dead shortly after meeting them. It's brutal. Doesn't really hide the violence at all. And it kind of gives you a harsh look at a potential reality of, one of the darkest times in American history. It's a really fun time to write a story, but this one's purely about revenge and like bloodshed. So if you're not the type for the very gritty storylines, don't bother with this one. But if you are, it was one of the better anime this season, and I highly recommend it. Number 11, ReLife. Alright, now this one's cheating, but I have to go into it. The next one I want to talk about is ReLife. This is one that came out during spring that I somehow completely missed. But it kind of worked its way into my feed right at the beginning of summer, and I started watching it, and I cannot believe I missed up on it. So I'm technically going to staple this on, because this is my show, dang it, I can do what I want. Anyway, ReLife is a story about a 27-year-old who pretty much has not really done anything with his life. He started a corporate job, but quit it after a few years. There's good reasons for that, but I won't go into it. But he quits, gets a part-time job, living off his parents, and just kind of coasting through life. And his parents eventually decide to cut him off and say, like, look, you got to make something of yourself. You're a grown man. You're getting close to 30. You got to do something. It's pretty much the life of the current what they call the millennials, which I hate that word. It's pretty much the people in their 20s who were born in the 90s who inherited this great desire for all of us to go to college, get these fantastic degrees, and live the same perfect lives that was expected of our parents, but somehow with twice the debt from school and half the economy. It's an interesting place to be, and I think it's really nice that they address the issue that it's not based on laziness often, it's often based on circumstances. However, this is the chance to have a real life, because the government is worried about these 20-year-olds, these 20 to 30-year-olds who are, not really doing much with their lives. So to rehabilitate them, they give them a pill that makes them look like they're 17 and re-enrolls them in a normal high school, where they, for a year, go back, remember what it was like growing up, and hopefully rekindle those desires to, pursue a career, get a job in a field that pushes you and to push yourself to be better. It's fantastic. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it right now. The characters are great, especially the friendships they make. The main character gets these fun dichotomies where he is addicted to alcohol and cigarettes, which causes issues because he has to hide them from his friends because they are very much not approved at school. And it also kind of goes into, although he looks like he's 17, he has very strict rules about how he interacts with students, and he also finds out that he's not young anymore. And it has some pretty hilarious moments, especially for somebody like me who's very close to his age. So, if you at all are in your 20s or 30s, I think you'll get a real good kick out of this one. And even if you're not, it's a fun series to watch. Next up, the Waifu Awards. And finally, my favorite part, we're going to talk about the waifus. Now, sadly though, this is tough. Normally, I have to choose between like 3 or 4 good waifus. To be honest, it was hard to pick a waifu for this season. The good waifu, Rem, has already been chosen. It's like, she's disqualified from this season. I've picked her twice. I'd love to, but I can't. It doesn't make any sense. So it pretty much came down to 2. The girl from Amanchu, the main character girl, who's just gorgeous, just perfectly drawn, wonderful, and she's got a decent personality, albeit very quiet and very much always living on the safe side. Or there's the main girl, the high schooler from Sweetness and Lightning. Now, of course, high school girls, you feel like, doesn't quite qualify, but at the same time, her personality really shone, and she definitely seemed like someone who I'd want to get to know, like, very much personally. So, pretty easy for me to choose. The winner of this season for Best Waifu goes to Kotori from Sweetness and Lightning. Now, I don't know, she definitely wasn't like the prettiest girl or anything, but she definitely was like the most, I don't know, just like she made me feel happy inside. She was somebody who was fun to be around. She was very observant of the people around her and was very caring. She also has like some really adorable tendencies, especially when she's eating food. She just loves food, and it's funny. Although she's got that annoying tendency of being skinny as a rail, but she eats tons and tons of food. Like there are several times where she eats 3 or 4 portions worth. Like literally, she could out-eat me if she were a real person, and that's just disgusting that she would be able to stay so skinny. And I know it's an anime, but I knew people like that, so I could still get mad about it, dang it. But all in all, probably the most interesting person, the person I'd want to get to know. However, I do also have a surprise reveal here because I had a husbando. There was one character who just really stuck out to me, and I felt like not only was he a well fleshed out character, but he made some very difficult choices that made me really respect him as a character. Now it's funny because not a real person, but you know, he was a very believable character. It was somebody that I think could be real, and if I ever met somebody who was like this, they would be one of my favorite people on the planet, although I don't think I'd want to marry them, obviously. But the husbando of this season goes to Suwa from Orange. Now, like I said, Orange was a good show, but the characters were hard to really get attached to. The characters you got to know the most tended to be annoying, and the characters that seemed pretty cool, you barely got to see. However, Suwa, in the second half of the series, really stepped it up, and he did some very powerful self-sacrificing. He literally put all of his desires on aside and pushed them away because he would rather his friend make it through his tough trials, even though he knew what he would be losing, which was a future family with his crush. Like, that would be horrid. And you really need to watch the series to kind of understand that better, but hands down, best male character of this season. So, honestly, let me know if you agree with these choices. Like, all in all, it was a fantastic season. Not the best season of this year by far, but pretty up there. However, this current season, the last season of the year, has got some really good stuff. So, like, I'm actually starting to think that this season has some of the best anime of the year. So, please stay tuned toward the end of the year when we have our final Otaku Awards, and then the grand finale where we have the ultimate Otaku Awards for the full year. That'll be a pretty short episode because it's pretty much just going to talk about #1 anime of each season, #1 waifu, and potentially what #1 husbandos, if there are any more. And we'll just kind of see what things you really need to see out of the whole year, even if you missed and were just not able to be around for the whole thing. Mostly it's just for me and my fun and myself, so hopefully you enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you had a good time, and until the next video you watch with me, or whatever you happen to see me in next, I'll see you there.